Welcome to HeroQuest fans. We are back on a Friday. Thanks for joining us on twitch.tv/HeroQuestFans. And we're going to be playing against the Ogre Horde once again. So I was just trying to get a few other projects done before we started, so that will continue after. But yeah, we have, looks like we have one hero tonight so far. Oh, scratch that. 2 heroes. Welcome Bohemius, welcome Grimlore. How you guys doing tonight?
All right, thanks. How are you?
Doing pretty well.
Hello.
Hello. So yeah, just a little piece of advice for people who are making their own HeroQuest cards. So Board Games Maker and MakePlayingCards.com. Apparently they've been, I don't know, I guess burned by a lot of people sending them like HeroQuest custom cards to print. And so they seem to have a very strict policy, like no HeroQuest logos at all on their cards, which they didn't used to be that strict. I know that there was a big deal about fake copyright notices. People make their HeroQuest, this is just a pet peeve of mine, people make their HeroQuest cards and then they put like, 1993 Milton Bradley at the bottom, and it's like, don't do that. Because when they see that, it's like, oh, that's copyrighted. You can't print that, even if it's something you just made yourself. Because people for a long time have just like put those copyright notices. I guess because
it's just confusion.
Yeah,
and people think it's official stuff.
Well, there's that too. I think some people do it because they want it to like match the set they already have, so they have their like the classic stuff, and then. But it's just not a good idea if you're going to send it to a company to print it, because they could get in big trouble if
Totally.
word gets out that, oh yeah, they're just facilitating piracy, even if it's something from 35 years ago. You never know. So I don't blame the company, but yeah, people just don't realize. So when you get those, when you go to like Ye Olde Inn and places like that, and you get like these fan-made cards, it's real easy. I know people like to just think they can just print it as is. You should go in and you should edit it. You should edit it yourself, change it, get rid of any fake copyright notices. And if you're sending it to those particular ones, you may have to remove the HeroQuest logo as well. It's really easy. If you have Photoshop or Paint.net or whatever, PaintShop Pro, GIMP, whatever people use these days. But that's what I've had to do for mine. And I think, let me make this clear as well. So I'm not telling people to try to fool others. I know there's some people on Etsy that sell stuff and it's like, it's not clear that it's not an official HeroQuest product. I mean, we know because we're so steeped in the lore and everything, but a lot of people will look at that and go, is that real? Is that something rare? Or is that just something somebody whipped up? And sometimes, unfortunately, you do get people who are rather unscrupulous. They'll copy mods other people have made, that were freely available, and just sell them. And I guess they probably justify it in their mind saying, well, I'm providing a service. I'm printing this for you. But I think it's really crappy because, yeah, the original creator didn't get anything for that. And you're pretending it's your work. And I'll be honest, I mean, I've downloaded tons of mods that other people have made, quests, characters, and I change like 1 or 2 little things and then I'm happy with it. But the difference is I'm using it for myself. I'm just printing it and using it on my table. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm not trying to like put it out there and say, oh yeah, I created this. Because you're stealing somebody else's credit, really. I mean, even if you could say, well, all they did was they took an official product and they just modified it slightly. You created something in Hero Forge and you made a couple changes yourself, but then you're trying to take full credit. You're trying to trick people, and I just don't like that. So I think there's not a lot we can do as a community except to say, point it out when we see it and say, hey, don't support this guy. He's copying somebody else's work. If you're going to put a fake copyright notice, and I don't know why you would, but I mean, with AI, you could make a fake signature that says, Stephen Baker created this, and print it off at home for yourself. I guess. I mean, no one's stopping you, but if you're gonna put it online, put it out there, just don't do it. Just don't do that. You're helping people screw other people over, as I see it. So a little bit of a rant there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm taking it too far?
No, not at all. And I think as well, like, there's people who will try and, sell these things where they really should be readily available for everyone, seeing as they're fan-made stuff.
Yeah.
And with the Hero Forge stuff as well, like, you're right there as well, where, people can just print off something and then sort of claim, I'm making this is my product. And it's a bit dodgy.
It can be tempting, though. It can be really tempting because, I mean, I've gone to some Etsy pages and looked at, just type in HeroQuest, and I've covered that on like the Rantcast podcast, and you'll see just tons of stuff. And I'll be honest, some of it looks amazing. Now, the thing to keep in mind is just remember these are created in small batches by people. Some of it, once you get it in your hands, it's not as cool as it looks in the pictures. So let the buyer beware. But yeah, I mean, just think about, I think there's a confidence issue here too, because a lot of people see that, they're brand new to board game hobbies and HeroQuest, and they see it and they're like, wow, I've got to have that for my collection. But think about it. There's just, the fan-made stuff is endless. It's not like you can collect all the figures people printed out. Like, you can't do it. There's, we're talking thousands and thousands of designs, and with new ones every day. And some of them are completely original. Some of them are copied from other sources without, credit. Some of them are kit bashed from other places. But it's really not as hard as people think to make your own stuff. I mean, yes, sculpting a new character can seem daunting, but you've got Hero Forge. Hero Forge is like if anybody remembers those video games that became popular, like in the early 2000s, the Create a Wrestler feature. I use wrestling games because those are the ones I played. But I mean, you got the different body parts and the different gear. That's really all Hero Forge is. It's like, just build the guy.
Totally.
And it
reminds me of, I don't know if you remember Soul Calibur. It's a bit like that, where you make your own character and you've got different skins and stuff like that.
See, shows how old I am. The Soul Calibur I'm familiar with is on the Dreamcast, and I don't think you could make your
Totally remember that one. Not on that one. I think it was Soul Calibur 3. I think I've got that on a PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
It still works though as well. Sometimes I still get that out and play that. But I'm more of a board game player really, but yeah.
Oh man. I mean I got out of board games for a long time and then got back in because of HeroQuest. But yeah, I love video games. But yeah, I always like that, create your own character. But yeah, it's like Hero Forge, and not to, this is not a promotion, it's just pointing it out. They let you create your own character. And I think it's mainly to appeal to people who are players, like D&D players, not like GMs, but it's like, oh, you're going over to your friend's house, you want a custom like dwarven wizard or something, so you make him in there. And they can either send you the STL, so you can print it yourself as many times as you want, or they can send you the plastic figure, which I don't recommend. I've ordered from them, and for the price I paid, it was very fragile. Especially because like they don't limit how you design it. So I mean, if you design like a lot of like pointy bits or things sticking out and you drop it and it hits that part, it's just going to break right off. So let that be a warning. And their color miniatures, I was so disappointed. I spent like $45 on that when it first came out, because in the pictures it looked awesome. But when I actually got it, like the colors were really dull and it just looked bad. But again, they don't restrict you. I mean, you can put color on the miniature in the little web browser design thing that they give you on Hero Forge, and it's like you could put all the colors exactly the way you want it. You just got to remember that's how it looks digitally. That's not how it actually looks in real life. So when you get it, it may just look like a melted crayon. They also have a feature where you can get a digital version that you can use in Tabletop Simulator, which, I don't know. To me, like, their best idea is the STL. Because to me, it's like, okay, I'll get that and I'll print it out. But here's the thing to keep in mind. Their terms of service, I read it over a couple times because people were asking me it, and read it yourself. their terms of service, it says that they own the design. So it's just a license for you to print it for your personal use. So what you're not supposed to do is buy the STL and then, start selling, that thing, or whether you printed it out or just selling the file, nothing like that. So watch out, be careful.
Yeah, it's all their property.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to call those guys out, but there's a couple of designs that I see going around, and I'm just trying to do my own investigation into it. But one of them, it was like a Ranger Guardian of the Forest or something like that. The problem is there's two packs. I think they come from Europe, and they're very similar to one another, but it's like two red, like elf type figures with like bows in a box, and they have cards.
I've seen them.
Yeah, it's meant to sort of remind you of the hero collections that Avalon Hill did. But one of them is called For the Quest, like the number 4 the Quest. That's the one I've been scrutinizing, and I was like, this looks like Hero Forge to me. And so I went into Hero Forge
I saw it
and I recreated it. It's like, oh, it's 100% Hero Forge.
I saw it on Morcar's channel.
Yeah,
I think where he was reviewing it. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people send him all kinds of stuff. And see, I have no problem with that. Like, and again, like when I say it, I'm not trying to say like holier than thou. I'm just saying, from the standpoint of a fan who doesn't want Hasbro to like come crashing down on us and like, punish the community and like take away all this goodwill that we have. Like, that's why I'm saying, hey, be smart about this, be careful, don't be stupid, don't be a jerk, with this kind, don't be greedy. If you're giving it away, that to me is the best thing. You make a fan-made thing, you give people access to it. I think some people say, you know what, they have this idea that, it's too hard for people to make their own stuff. But again, I disagree. I mean, yes, if you live like in a rural farming community somewhere far off, yeah, it's going to be tough. But I can print stuff off. I don't have a 3D printer. But I know people that have 3D printers. I know of institutions where you can go and you can just print stuff. You can send it away to be printed very cheaply. And yeah, it'll take some time to get to you, but it can be done. And I don't have a photocopier. I don't even have a working printer anymore. Ink cartridges are kind of expensive, but I mean, I can go to a print shop very easily and get stuff printed out in pretty high quality. And a lot of these mods that I see people selling, it's like, I could do that. Like, and you don't have to be like a master of Photoshop. You don't have to be a skilled painter or anything. It's like most of the stuff, it's really not that tough. They've just, like, we made fun of the First Light cover, the Clark Mitchell thing, and it's just like, it looks like he took existing elements and he probably spent several hours with Photoshop, just copying and pasting and like rotating stuff and coloring it using filters. You can do that. You can transform something that's already out there to a fairly good standard so that by the time you print it, it looks great at the table and no one's going to complain. But I think when it crosses over into you're trying to fool people into thinking that either you're a great artist when you're not, you're stealing other people's work, or you're trying to create a bootleg to sell. But the last part of my rant here, I'm going to say, is we've also learned that apparently some of the factories over in China, or Hong Kong, I guess, part of China now, not to get political, but it's like the same factory that Hasbro used to create their stuff apparently also is being used to create some of these bootlegs. So they have like copies of certain figures and dice designs that are like exactly like the same materials and everything, but maybe they've just done one thing, like they take away the logo or they change the color or whatever, and it's just
could they be slightly damaged, or maybe have some sort of fault where they didn't get okay to be packaged, maybe, and that someone works there has just gone, rather than throw them away,
just
maybe
make a buck on the side.
Mm-hmm.
No, because they are produced with a different plastic, so they just use the original molds and use different plastic and they sell it.
I agree with Bohemius on that. So I think I don't know how it all works. Like, you would think that Hasbro, when they have a mold designed, that they own that mold, that's theirs, and only they get to use it. But maybe not. Or maybe somebody just sneaks in the middle of the night and like copies it somehow.
That is the most probable thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because
They
you don't know which one is the control. Yeah,
because I've
for
heard
sure the person that has the contract, it will not allow this.
Yeah. Well, and again,
yes.
not to get into politics, but from what I've heard, the IP laws over in that part of the world are a lot weaker, and so they don't necessarily like police that stuff as much. So yeah, if somebody just says, "Oh yeah, we're just going to reuse this thing,"
yeah, but they have a contract, right? So what stopped them, for example, to leak all the stuff they are producing and actually give? So they have to abide to some contract for this kind of. So I believe there's somebody that is taking advantage of that is working there. That is taking advantage of this black market.
Yeah. So I guess my point is I don't know all the laws, so it might be 100% illegal. It might be a complete criminal enterprise, or it might be a loophole or something where it's like they don't like it, but it just happens because they can get away with it. I don't know.
This miniature, anyway, they come out always after. Okay, the product is hitting the shelves.
Yeah.
Never before.
Well, and we don't. I think
so,
there was a theory early on that, I mean, you see a picture of something like a Rogue, and you're like, well, this might be 3D printed. Or the other theory was, well, maybe somebody took one of the prototypes and made a resin cast of it or something. But now, I guess using the dice as a model, some of these dice things, it's literally the same factory, and it's maybe the same machinery, and yeah, it's just very blatant. So I don't know what to do about it. I mean, the stuff is really popular. I mean, Hasbro has to know that it exists. I guess they just kind of like shrug their shoulders. It's like if it's not cutting into their profits, I mean, it costs them money to go after these people and try to shut them down if they think it's a threat. But like, are we hurting the franchise by buying this stuff? Is like what I'm saying.
But they're not doing it only for HeroQuest, for example. Remember we find stuff from Talisman, we find stuff.
Yep.
So many other factories they produce. Well, probably it's the same factory. Many other games produced by Avalon Hill. They have this leak. Probably somebody is putting an extra shift to to print some extra on the side.
Well, and this could get to a whole thing that maybe should go on the Rantcast and not in HeroQuest fans. But there's people who say, well, yeah, but guess what? The reason this stuff exists is because of their industry practices. The people are paid so little that they think, hey, this sounds like a good idea to make this bootleg stuff, make some extra money. Or
I don't care.
They limit the supply.
I don't care if it's in HeroQuest at all. Anyway, it's an extra that you can have. You want the dragons, because anyway, the person that cannot afford the game will not buy the game. So it would buy the bootleg. Okay, it costs a little bit less, but it will not have the original game.
Well, there's that, and then there's the other thought that the average person doesn't know HeroQuest is back, or even what HeroQuest is. The next level, people know it because they saw it on the store shelf at Target. The next level is, okay, they go to their local game shop, HeroQuest, what's this HeroQuest, And then it's like it goes down the line, and then it gets to people like us who are like constantly searching the web for anything HeroQuest related. Oh, what's this? HeroQuest. Okay, what is it? We're like picking it apart. And it's like we're the ones most likely to see it. We're the ones most likely to already know that, yeah, this is just a ripoff. This is a knockoff. This is a bootleg. This is not the real thing. I mean, you're going to maybe catch a few people. And I guess the positive thing for me is to say, well, probably what's happening despite what you're saying there, Bohemius, I mean, not to discount it, because probably people in certain countries, maybe that's their opportunity, is it's people who are going to buy the knockoff. They're going to start to learn based on that and go, oh, this is not the real one, but the real one is out there, and then they discover it. Or they're going to buy a mod because they think this mod looks amazing, I could never do this. Then they actually get it in their hands and go, wait a minute, I can actually do this. And they're going to become confident and start creating their own stuff. Because, I mean, you get a deck of cards and it's like, all they did was just change the stats slightly from the, the equipment or whatever. Like, I could do this. And maybe it'll give them the tools. So maybe the good side of it is it's not going to cause someone to just go, oh, okay, I never have to give Hasbro another dime. I can just buy all this knockoff stuff, and then they lost me as a customer. Or they're going to see it, which is the way the laws are designed from what I hear. The reason they're against bootlegs is because, not just because you lose business, but you get the bootleg, it sucks, and it reflects badly on the original company. Like you think, oh man, this product is bad. So it gives them basically bad publicity. So, I don't know. Maybe Hasbro thinks they can't stop it, or it's not worth the effort because it might have some good effects. Maybe the bad effects are minimal. But I guess, I don't know. Am I hypocritical for buying the stuff and like reviewing it and saying, okay, this is a bootleg? Or am I providing a service because I'm showing people that it's not real? That like, what you're getting. Like if you really want to give these people money. Because I can't stop somebody from buying like For the Quest. But I can say, hey, watch out, because this is all he did to make this. And didn't I hear, I don't know, one of you guys might have said it. Sorry, I know I've been monopolizing the conversation, but didn't one of you guys tell me that, like, with For the Quest, he was saying, well, I'm not selling the miniatures, it's just a free gift, it's tucked into the box or something? Or is that just my imagination?
I'm sure he's probably came up with some sort of loophole to maybe, but yeah.
I really don't want to comment on that because they are both Italian products, and they are. I don't want to make the controversy even bigger.
Oh, okay. You know what? I probably should put a stop on it too, because I've heard there's some drama online about this. So I'm not going after anybody. I just want people to be aware. So I guess that's my thing, and I can leave it at that. But yeah, if you see something.
Bottom line, I prefer, anyway, something I can say. I prefer if the fan made stuff are they can sell it as much as they want, but they have to give the file for everybody to actually print it themselves if they want to. Okay, because they put a lot of quality maybe on the both products. Okay, on the manufacturing of boxes or miniature. Or both have good points, but they are being a fan made like I'm following the same words of Cristobal from the Black Friday Warcraft.
Yeah,
it's not a fan made if it's not available for everybody.
Like it's only for Patreons or something. Like you're limiting.
Yeah, but that is my thought. Okay, unless you're creating completely, I don't know, an entire game new, so you do like your own stuff, but you're back in the community that is following a game, and you are gaining money out of the community. Okay, with tricks. Okay, we're not talking about only these two, because there's a lot more products that do the same.
Many more.
I really respect like Sunday Quest.
Sunday Quest, yeah.
Because yes, they put the product for sale on Amazon, but it's available for free.
That's true. Yeah. And I think well, I really, really am looking forward to this. But I've finally been talking to Luca Posky about the Lost Quest packs because he was like, I don't know, gone for a while, and people were wondering like what happened to him. Well, he and I have talked about this, and I guess that's a thing that they're discussing behind the scenes too. Not to spoil anything, but this idea of, well, we want to print this out and like have good quality like copies and stuff. But the problem with that is all the things we've been talking about. And so it's possible to do both. Like you can print it, print it and give it away. But you can also make it just available for people to make their own copies. Now, in the case of his project, it's a little trickier because it's based on an actual Hasbro thing that they created. I mean, you could say it's a finished draft. So they took the draft that was incomplete and then added new things to finish it. But see, then it becomes to me like you're making a mod of HeroQuest. So you make your own equipment deck that has, altered weapons, different artwork and stuff. So it's a derivative work rather than a new work set in the same universe. So you can't really sell that. Now, they did hire artists to create like new artwork, new models and things that didn't exist before. So in that case, it's like, okay, they could sell those things as long as they make clear what it is. But then it's like, okay, so half of it belongs to Hasbro and half of it belongs to those creators. So how could you possibly sell it as a package? You know what I mean? So there's all these complicated like things. Like, how do you do it in such a way that you don't, like you say, cause drama, cause confusion, get people upset in the community, and worse, get the wrath of Hasbro's legal team on your back? So that's something that I hope to do an interview with him maybe later this month, and we're gonna like talk about some of that stuff, and he can be, sort of the authoritative voice on what's actually happening, because I have all these questions about it, you know what I mean? And he's told me some stuff, but I don't necessarily know all that's happening, despite being like connected to the project. So I'm excited about that.
Well, for what I know, maybe a little news for you, because maybe you didn't talk with Luca Paschi for a while. He just a few days ago posted in Facebook they're going to do a live stream where they're going to present the first, let's say, online quest. Nice. Okay, a prelude to the campaign.
Did he say when and
so
where?
He's ready. He's what in Facebook? He posted he's going to be with Grog, I believe.
Oh, Grog. Okay.
Italia Grog. They're going to present this quest. That quest is ready practically. From there, they're going to give us more information.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I volunteered as well. I mean, I figured it would be probably with those guys because they've done a lot of stuff, and maybe it's a little easier with some of the language stuff. But I also volunteered. I said, hey, I'd run that quest too, at some point. Yeah, the intro quest. So they wrote a new quest to promote the package. So it's something inspired by an unfinished draft, but it's a new creation. Like, I think Luca Paschi actually wrote it himself. So there'll be kind of even though it's like a classic era style, it's like an Avalon Hill type thing. Like what Avalon Hill would do. They release into the Northlands.
Yeah, it's the new trend. It's fine. It's
yeah, I think it's a great idea. Plus, it gives you a chance to like take cutting room floor ideas and like put it in there. Stuff that you weren't going to use, but here's a way to toss it in there and get people excited. But again, you put it out there digitally, and it's like, okay, someone's going to print it out, someone's going to put it on Etsy and try to sell it, or eBay, and say, oh, ultra rare. See, it even says HeroQuest on it. It's like, yeah, but it's not real. It's Luca's work. It's not yours. Please don't do that. So, but yeah, I think if we ran something like that on our stream, we would be altering it already. Like, we wouldn't play it straight. We would play it according to how we play our quests. But I mean, that's going to happen with anything you release. You know, if I create a quest, okay, it's going to be optimized for the homebrew rules that I use, but somebody else who doesn't have that is going to change it so that it fits with their way of playing. And I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. I just don't want someone to sell my work and claim it's theirs. So, all right. Any other thoughts before we start our game? I guess I missed the rant cast, and so this was kind of like the substitute for it. All right. Well, with that, I think we can get some Against the Ogre Horde started. So, we had started, well, in the remake formulation, it's Quest 8, the Pit of Dread, Pit of Chaos in the original. And it looks like we had a few heroes already, but we can get you guys set up. And the music you're listening to, because I forgot to say it, like I always do, Suno.com. This is AI-created music. I think I'm going to stop using the term arranged, because I was thinking, you know, in musical terms, arrangement sort of implies something, like I wrote the sheet music or I got the instruments together, and that's not what I did. Like, Suno.com is just an AI thing. I mean, you just can basically just put a bunch of keywords, a bunch of prompts in there. You know, what the musical style, or in the style of some actual artist, what musical instruments you want in there, what vocals you want. And you can go the next level, which is to actually type the lyrics, which I did for the HeroQuest theme songs, which you haven't heard any of those on this stream, but on other streams I've done it. I wrote the lyrics, and I tweaked it and stuff like that, but basically the AI did all the work. And I'm not trying to do that to fool anybody, but the problem is a lot of this music that you get online that claims to be royalty-free really isn't, unfortunately. And we've had problems with like licenses changing and everything like that. But even Suno.com has their own rule. They say you can create stuff for free, but if you run it on a stream that runs ads, for example, you need to buy a commercial license. So the music I've created, it's with a commercial license, so I'm allowed to put it on there. They're not going to flag me or come after me because I've paid for it. And I hate to pay for AI, I really do, because it's like, I'd rather pay an artist, but I just don't have the money for it. So I guess this is my way of like being cheap. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I hope it is fitting music, but mostly I do it just so that I don't get in trouble with Twitch or YouTube when I have background music and somebody decides that, you know, they don't want me to have it, so they try to mute it or flag it.